Good afternoon, happy Tuesday, and welcome to Coffee and a Card. So, in case you're wondering, you did not imagine it, I did just go live for 1 second before Facebook cut me off. So here we are on take 2 on our Coffee and a Card. So it's Tuesday and I am Holly with Handcrafted Blessings, and I like to come to you each week to show you some happy mail, and being the cards that you have sent to me, and then also to show you a couple of projects. Sorry, I'm hearing noise outside of my studio and I was like, what is that? I think it's me. I think I am echoing because somebody is watching me outside of my studio door. So Beth, if you can hear me, if you can turn down your volume, because I'm hearing me echo in the background. So anyways, welcome to Coffee and a Card. I will be showing you some happy mail, and then I've got 2 projects to show you as well, using some Sale-A-Bration products. So let me just get the live up and running. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with Happy Mail. So Happy Mail is what I call it when y'all send cards to me, because it makes me happy to show off your creativity. So I've got quite a few cards to show today, and then we'll jump into making something. So the first card is from Michelle Olmos, and using the birthday designer series paper. Beautiful Birthday, I think it's called. So she's got her note there on the inside, but a real cute design. Next, we've got one from Deb Witt, and it says, "Wishing you the brightest birthday." And I like how she just used the strips of designer series paper there on her layout. And then on the inside here, let's move this Post-it note so you can see the stamping. She's got those flowers stamped on the inside as well. All right, next I've got a card from, see, there's no name on the outside. Let me look on the inside. From Chris Colley. And it says, "Enjoy your day." I love this hummingbird. It's so pretty. That's from the Thoughtful Expressions stamp set. And it says, "Hope your day is filled with everything good." Isn't that so pretty? The dies are from that Thoughtful Expressions as well. Welcome everybody who's coming in. This card is from Stephanie Briggs. It says, "Just because," you can see there. And this is from, there's an embossing folder and die that cuts out these words like this. It's really cool. And this die here with the holes in it, I'm actually going to be using today. So, and then she's got her message there on the inside, but that's a fun fold as well. Okay, next I've got a card from Ann Teleke from Washington. Oh, this one I gotta open here. It says, "Happy New Year. Love and joy come to you, and may it last the whole year through." So I like that, how she's made the little window cut out there on the front, and it's embossed with the snowflake embossing folder. Okay, next I've got a card from Linda Burcham from here in Iowa. In fact, I just ran into her in the grocery store the other day, yesterday. Happy birthday. Like that. Just got her note on the inside. Isn't that cool? I love the way she just layered the die cuts for her card. It's so fun seeing the different ways that you guys put together products to make your cards. Yes, Tony, so many great cards. Very true. This card is from Peggy Wetzel in Wisconsin. And just move her notes falling out. It says, "Thank you." A little Z fold. So it's still a Z fold, even though it's not half of the front panel, because it still makes a Z up there. So keep that in mind when you're making Z folds. You can actually score it anywhere you want across your front panel, and then just adjust your designer series paper accordingly. All right, I've got one here from Amanda Bach in Illinois. Oh, if I can get it out of the envelope. And it says, thank you. I love these layouts. They're so pretty. Very nice. I can be just such a sucker for simple layouts that make for quick and easy cards, especially when you need to make a bunch of cards. Okay, this one is from Karen Tackett, one of my team members. She lives in Indiana. It says, birthday wishes. And it says, hope each moment of your day is as special as you are. I like that. I love that designer series paper. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Was it Misty Moonlight and Shaded Spruce? Okay, one more. And this one is from Holly Paulson in South Dakota. And it says, you're a rock star. This is such a fun set. I don't actually have this stamp set, but the paper has been really fun to play with. Is it rock and roll paper? It opens this way. Got it. Sometimes I have to kind of figure out how to open your cards. And it says, have a rock and roll birthday. So, very nice. That's like a double flap card or something like that. All right, you guys, thank you so much for the cards that you've sent. Like I said, I really enjoy showing off your creativity. And that's why I call it Happy Mail, because it makes me happy to see that you are crafting. That's, really my goal is just to help give you ideas for crafting, and then showing off your cards gives us all even more ideas for what we can do with our supplies. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down, because we're actually going to make 2 cards today, because I feel like I'm running out of time to show you Sale-A-Bration products before they retire. So I decided to make 2 different cards today using a couple of 3 different sets. So let's see, we got these here. Okay, now Ice Cream Swirl is not Sale-A-Bration, but I needed it to tie in with the watermelon set, and you'll see that here in a moment. And then I'm going to show you Softly Sophisticated and how we line up these flowers and leaves. So we will start with, let's start with the Softly Sophisticated card. So this particular item, Sale-A-Bration, it comes to you as a bundle. It comes with the Softly Sophisticated embossing folder. So I've shown this on a few cards because I'm absolutely obsessed with this embossing folder. I love it so much. And I have been using it a ton. So I'm actually going to use it in both of these cards, but we're going to use it 2 different ways. So we'll start with, trying to get my sample here. All right, here is where we're heading. So we're going to use that Softly Sophisticated. We've got our Everyday Details dies, and the Pool Party Crinkle Ribbon is also a Sale-A-Bration item as well. Okay. Oh, and then also I'm using the Sale-A-Bration, let's see, what are these called? Opaque Faceted Gems. So those are another Sale-A-Bration item as well. So we'll use those. Okay, let's start with our Pool Party base. So my Pool Party base measures 5.5 by 8.5. And I'm just going to score it in half at 4 1/4. So we'll do 4 1/4. Okay, so then we are going to take another piece of Pool Party, and this one I need to be 2.5 by 5 1/4. So we'll start with 2.5. And then we'll turn it and we will do, let's see, I think I'll do it this way. 5 1/4. So 2.5 by 5 1/4. And then I need some designer series paper. So for my paper, I am using another Sale-A-Bration item. We're just pulling in all sorts of Sale-A-Bration today. And this is called, I always get this wrong, so I'm just going to pull it out. It's this paper pack. And this is the Softly Stippled Designer Series paper. So it has some really beautiful patterns with flowers and then just some kind of textured patterns as well. So Softly Stippled. And I've chosen these two pool party patterns. One has the flowers and the other is just kind of a textured background color. And I'm actually going to just put them together. I just have 2 pieces here. And we're just going to cut them both at the same time. So I need 4 pieces, 2 from each pattern, and they're all going to measure exactly the same. So they're going to be 2 1/4 by 1 1/8. So 2 1/4, like so. And I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to do 1 1/8. I'm cutting 2 pieces of paper at the same time. If you don't want to do that, you can always cut each one individually. But just thought I would that be multitasking? Since I'm cutting 2 at the same time. Okay, so 2 1/4 by 1 1/8. So I've got all 4 of those now. And I think I can put away the cutter for right now. So we will come back here, and I also have a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4. And because I'm doing 2 cards, I went ahead and did the embossing ahead of time. So this has already been embossed with that Softly Sophisticated embossing folder. So I know it might be a little hard to see the texture on there. I always try to kind of move it, but to remind you, this is what we have used for the embossing. Okay, so I'm going to take my card base and I'm going to grab, actually, you know what, before we tape that down, let's actually put the pool party. I'm just trying to think through here how I want to do this. No, I think we'll just keep on going where I was at. So what I like to say when I use 3D embossing folders is I like to put tape on all 4 sides just to really hold it down and keep it nice and flat on our project. So we got that. And then what we'll do is we'll take our pool party piece here. Actually, let's just move this out so it's easier to see. And we are going to lay out our 4 pieces. I'm just going to alternate them. And one of the ways that I suggest you work on these is start from either the bottom or the top and take 1 piece. And this is a way I found to make it easier to line it up. So we're going to take 1 and we're going to look for even borders on 3 sides. There we go. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the same thing up here. Because once I have those 2 in place, it's a lot easier to do the middle 2. So now I will go ahead and separate these out and space them relatively evenly so that I can tape each one down. Now the nice thing is perfection is not needed here because we are going to be overlapping a couple more things, and so you don't have to have them perfectly lined up. But if you do want that, you could always use a straight edge to measure them out. All right, next we're going to take our crinkle ribbon and we are going to place a piece over, and I'm going to adhere it to the back. So I'm just going to kind of cut off the end here. There we go. Got my length. I'm going to stick to the edge for the most part. We'll bring it back here and we will tape it down on the back. Okay, just like that. And now what we can do is we can take that whole thing and we can put it on our card front. So we've got, move this crinkle ribbon aside. And we'll put this down on our card front. Just like that. Okay. All right, now I'm going to take another piece of crinkle ribbon, and I just need it to be long enough to be able to tie a knot, so it doesn't have to be super long. So I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to go underneath the first one that we already taped down, and I will tie a knot. And what I like about this is it's just an easy way to get a nice, straight, flat knot. And what I'll do real carefully here is I will trim the edges at an angle. I'm going to trim this one up just a little bit. Just clean it up a little bit. There we go. Now, if for some reason you tie this knot and it's still just not laying where you want it to be, you could also grab a glue dot. I'm just going to peel this glue dot right off of here. And I could stick it underneath the ribbon and stick it down. Okay, so that's another way to hold it in place if you need to. All right. Next, what we're going to do is we are going to take a die cut, which I will show you what I got that from. This is called Everyday Details dies. And I want to show you this because there's actually 2 sheets of dies in this pack. So you've got both circles and rectangles and then kind of some detail, fun detail. And what they do is they each cut out these shapes and leave holes. But what's also really fun about these dies, let me show you the die here. This is the rectangle die that I used. Now you can see that there are 2 lines of dots, but I only have a single line. Okay, so this was cut right from the middle section. What that means is when you're cutting it out, you end up with a frame that also has the dots cut out of it. And so what I like to do is when I'm cutting out this rectangle, I used a piece of 3 3/4 by 5 and I put the die right in the middle so that once I've cut it out, I can now save this and this becomes a really fun frame for another card. So I just want to show you kind of how that cuts out the double feature for you. All right. And we'll just stick these back in here. And again, that was the Everyday Details dies, is what these are called. See if I can get these back in here. There we go. Okay. So I got my Everyday Details dies. And I am going to be using the Softly Sophisticated stamp set to stamp this and also to stamp the insert. So my insert is going to be 3 3/4 by 5 that we're going to stamp on. So I need, here's my ink right here. I need my Pool Party ink. We're going to start with, all of my stamps are double blocked, so it might take me a second to find which stamp I'm using. But we're going to start with this larger leaf one. Now I have a watermelon on the back that we're going to use for another card. But we'll start here with this one. And I'm just gonna stamp that here towards the top of my die cut. Okay. Next, we will take another greenery piece. Actually, let me move this one over so you can see it a little bit better. So we're going to take this stem piece and we will stamp that on the inside on our insert. Okay. Now we need to line up our flowers to go with this. So first we'll use this multi-flower stamp that's right here. And this is going to go on these stems right here. Now, the way that I like to do this is I can look through here and I can find where to line up my stamps. So I'm going to put this here. And what I like to look for are let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 tiny flowers. So I've got my finger covering one of them right here. Those are the ones that I'm going to line up, let me point here, to these little sections right here. Okay? That's where they line up. And the beauty of this stamp set is that it's a photopolymer, so you can see right through it in order to line up your flowers. So, let's see here, I think right there. There we go. Now for the other flowers, we have 3 of them. There's 2 large ones and 1 small one. And that small one I have found to be the key to lining up my flowers here. This small one is going to go right, I'm going to use my scissors again, right inside of here. So when I line that up, that helps me to know that my stamp is in the right spot. So we'll get that over here. There we go. And so you can see here where that lined up right there. And that's how I can know that the rest of mine are where I want them to be. So for words, we are going to use You're in My Thoughts. These are all from the same stamp set, that Softly Sophisticated set. And I'm doing everything in Pool Party. So this is pretty much a monochromatic card, and we're just featuring Pool Party and Basic White. Okay, so we'll take our insert and we will stick that on inside of our card. You could easily add words here too, if you wanted to do that. We'll close that up and use our bone folder here. And now I can apply some dimensionals to my card. Once we've dimensionalized that, we can add it to the front, the card front. You know, Evelyn, I just found that when I opened it, I took out some practice paper. So I just took out some scrap paper and just kind of played around with it until I found a way that helped me remember how to line up those stamps. So practicing is super helpful. Okay, so we've put that on there and we'll finish the card off with these opaque faceted gems because they come in Pool Party. I think they're Pool Party. They might be Balmy Blue now that I think about it, but they match this card, so that's what matters. I'll take a large one right there. So there we have You're in My Thoughts with that Softly Sophisticated stamp set and embossing folder. We've got the Pool Party crinkle ribbon, the opaque faceted gems, the stippled softly stippled designer series paper. So lots of Sale-A-Bration items showing up in this card. And again, those are all items that you can get for free with your orders. So that makes them extra fun, I think. All right, let me move aside a couple of things so we can do our second card. And for the second card, I am going to use a watercolor melon and ice cream swirl. So we're gonna take, let's see here, gotta transition some pieces out of the way so I can bring in a new card. So we'll take these two, set them aside. Here is where we're heading with our card. Hope your day is sweet. And we're gonna start with our ribbon because I need it to dry a little bit. So I'm just gonna grab the paper I was coloring with earlier when I colored my ribbon, and I'm gonna grab a piece of this black and very vanilla ribbon, and I'm just gonna color it. So this is the Sweet Sorbet Blends, and I don't want it to be vanilla because I am going to use a basic white, and I just don't think the vanilla part would work for my card. So I decided to color it Sweet Sorbet. Let's see, that's probably about long enough. What I love about ribbon like this, because it has a neutral color like very vanilla, you can actually color it any color that you need it to be. And now we have a whole new ribbon to work with. So I'm just going to cut this off. We'll worry about the precise length a little bit later when we're ready to put it on our card. But I'm just going to set that aside. You notice I left a little bit here because that lets me have a place to grab it while I'm waiting for it to dry. I don't really want that ink all over my hands. So that's why I just cut a little extra. So we'll set that aside to dry. And we will take our card base, which is basic white, measuring 5.5 by 8.5, and I'll score it at 4 1/4. And then we're gonna cut a piece of, oh, I should have written it down, you guys, because I didn't grab the package. This is Sweet Sorbet, I believe it's called texture paper, maybe in color texture paper. This is from the 2022 to 2024 in colors. So this is a color that's about to retire at the end of this catalog. And there's this really pretty kind of shimmery paper. And I am going to cut that to be 1 by 3.5. So 1 inch by 3.5 inches. Because I think the Sweet Sorbet really works well for the watermelon, so that's why I've chosen this Sweet Sorbet color. Okay, I'm going to set my trimmer aside. We'll need it a little bit later, but not quite yet. So I have used, once again, that Softly Sophisticated embossing folder. This piece of basic white is 3.5 by 4 3/4. So 3.5 by 4 3/4, and I've embossed it. Now normally I would tape it down so that you see this part, the embossed part, the part that is sticking up out of the paper. And normally that's how you might see it used. But for this card, we're actually going to feature the other side. It's a little bit more subtle design. It's kind of the debossed side. So this is the part that kind of caves in on your paper, if you will. The other thing I'm going to do, I just told you this on the last card. When I cut a piece of 3D, or I'm sorry, when I oh my gosh, y'all. I can't use my words. When I emboss with a 3D embossing folder, I would normally put tape around all 4 sides. But I'm not going to do that today because I actually don't want this to stay completely flat on my card. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some tape, not all the way top and bottom, and definitely not all side to side. So I've just got some strips of tape right in the middle, and I'll put it on the front of my card. And what this does is, you can probably see as I smooth it out, you can very clearly see the edges here are still kind of sticking up a little bit. And I want that for this card because I like the look of how it's going to tie in with everything else that we're going to do on this card. Okay, so we're going to, actually, let's do the stamping here, and then we'll move on to our other piece. So I'm going to use shaded spruce, and we're going to use this leafy stamp. Now you'll remember this stamp set is called Watercolor Melon because when you stamp it, it has a beautiful watercolor look to it. They've already added in, let me bring that up higher. They've already kind of added in the texture for you. So you might think, oh no, my stamps are broken. When you first stamp with this, it's not broken, I promise. It's just the texture of these particular stamps. Okay, so while we're stamping, we're going to use a piece of basic white, and we'll start with our solid watermelon. I should say whole watermelon. So we'll just stamp the whole watermelon on our basic white. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp, let me grab my sweet sorbet here. We're going to use both of these colors. I'm going to stamp the watermelon that has a bite taken out of it. And we'll put that here as well. There we go. Now we need a little rind for our watermelon. So it's kind of like a smile stamp that we add to the bottom of our watermelon. And then of course we've got to have some seeds. So let me close the shaded spruce for a moment, and we'll grab our Memento Black, and we will add some seeds. So there's two different seed stamps. There's a single seed, and then there's this trio of seeds. And the trio just kind of makes it faster to add multiple seeds to your watermelon. And then last but not least, we need our sentiment. So this is where I brought in the ice cream swirl set, this one here, because it has this one that says, "Hope your day is sweet." And I thought that really tied in well with the watermelon. So we'll grab that stamp. And I'm going to stamp that to the top of this piece of paper. And you'll see why in just a moment. There we go. Okay, I think that's everything we need to stamp for right now. So we will take that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut out the watermelon. What's really cool about the watermelon is it is the same size as the, or I shouldn't say it's not the same size. It fits in the modern oval punch. It's not the same size because it does leave a white border that we like to have when we're punching stuff out. So it's the perfect size. That's what I should have said. It's the perfect size to fit in the modern oval punch. So we can punch out that watermelon. And then I'm going to fussy cut around the other watermelon, because it's pretty small, so it doesn't take a whole lot to fussy cut. Now this one I am not leaving a white border. because this is a piece that we are eating out of. And so I want it to be a piece that looks like it is just ready to eat. So we're gonna even cut out the little bite marks that are on here. There we go. All right, so now we've got our whole watermelon and our watermelon slice. Now for this section up here, I am going to trim this off. So we're gonna stick it in here, and I'll do it about, oh, let's say 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches, and then I do want to make sure it's not more than 3.5 inches. Yeah, this one's a little bit too big. So I need it to be approximately 1.5 by 3.5. So now we have our sentiment piece. So now that I have that, I can take my adhesive and we're just going to draw a line across the bottom of our sentiment piece so that we can add our colored ribbon. I'm going to let the ribbon just slightly overlap my sentiment strip. There we go. So it just slightly overlaps over here. So I'll cut it on the other side to kind of match. There we go. Okay, where is my, so I've got my sweet sorbet. So we'll turn this over, add some more adhesive down here at the bottom so that I can, whoops, adhere my sentiment to the sweet sorbet paper. Now you can let as much or as little of this color stick out. It's kind of a nice highlight color for your card, but you'll end up with your layers looking like this. All right, so we'll grab our card front here and all of our pieces, and we'll start with our whole watermelon. I'm going to tape that down flat, but I do want it to be just kind of slightly behind this sentiment piece. So if you decide where you want your sentiment to be, you can then just kind of slide your watermelon right underneath. I'll have it sticking off the embossed piece just a little bit. Now these two are both going to be dimensionalized. So let's see if I can get my dimensionals from underneath all this pile of stuff. So we will add some dimensionals here. And I'll also dimensionalize my watermelon. I think I'm going to need a little bit more. I want to make sure that this guy stays level on my card. So we'll just take all the backs off of our dimensionals, using those edge pieces. That's why they might look a little funny to you. So I can put my sentiment strip back down on the front of the card. And then I'll add my partially eaten watermelon next to the sentiment. So once I close the card, I can crease it down. And we have our watercolor melon card. And on the inside, we've got a little bit of the leaf that comes with the watermelon. So if you came in late, let's see, I made another card. They get buried so quickly. I made 2 cards today on Facebook Live. So if you're ever looking for the measurements and supplies, they're all posted on my blog, probably about a couple hours after this video. So you can always go there if you want to review the supplies and measurements and make one of these cards. I would love to see your version. So if you want to take one of these layouts and use it with whatever stamp set or bundle you might have, and then post it over in the community group, it would be super fun to see your version of these cards. So thanks so much for tuning in today for Coffee and a Card and these fun Sale-A-Bration product cards. We've only got a couple weeks left of Sale-A-Bration, which is crazy to think about. So I hope you're enjoying all the fun stuff that you can get right now. So again, thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to encourage one another and build each other up. I'll see you soon.